Mercedes have won every single race in 2026. Every single one. And Oscar Piastri just looked straight at the camera and said, "They can be beaten." Is he delusional? Or does he know something we don't? Let's rewind to the start of 2026. New regulations. Everyone reset to 0. This was supposed to be anyone's championship. And then Mercedes showed up. Australia, Russell wins. China, Antonelli wins. Japan, Antonelli wins again. 3 races, 3 wins. 2 different drivers, 1 dominant team. McLaren, meanwhile, neither car even started in China. Electrical failure on both. That's not a bad weekend. That's a nightmare. In Australia, Piastri was 8 tenths behind Russell in qualifying. 8 tenths in modern F1 is not a gap. It's a canyon. So when someone asks Piastri if Mercedes can be beaten, you'd expect a diplomatic non-answer. Corporate speak, the usual. That's not what happened. Piastri said, and I'm quoting directly here, "Yes, I think we knew from last year that even when you have the best car, you still need to operate it at an incredibly high level." Then he said something really interesting. "I think it's interesting to see when someone else has the fastest car that it's not that straightforward." Think about what he's actually saying there. He's not just saying Mercedes can be beaten. He's saying having the fastest car doesn't automatically mean you win. McLaren learned that lesson as champions last year. Now they're watching Mercedes learn it too. And then the stat that actually backs all of this up. Australia, 8 tenths off. China, 5 tenths off. Japan, less than 4 tenths off. 3 races. Every single weekend, McLaren closed the gap. That's not luck. That's a development trajectory. Japan is where things got really interesting. Piastri overtook both Mercedes cars at the race start. Off the line, into turn 1, he was ahead of Russell and Antonelli. Now, he couldn't hold Antonelli. The Mercedes pace was just too strong once the race settled. But Russell? Piastri kept him behind for the entire first stint. Not just defended, actually managed the gap. Started to pull away slightly towards the end of the stint. That is massive information. It tells you that in race trim, in traffic, managing tires, the McLaren is closer to the Mercedes than the raw qualifying gap suggests. And Piastri acknowledged both sides of that. He said, "We did everything right this weekend, and we still got beaten by 15 seconds. That's the honest version. That's not spin. 15 seconds is still a lot of ground to make up. But here's the thing. He said it without panic, without excuses, just facts. That kind of clarity from a driver usually means the team already knows exactly what needs fixing." Here's where McLaren's history becomes relevant. In 2024, McLaren started the year as the 4th fastest team. 4th, behind Red Bull, Ferrari, and Mercedes. By Austria, they introduced a major upgrade package, and from Zandvoort onwards, they won 4 of 6 races. They didn't just catch up, they overtook everyone and won the Constructors' Championship. Their first since 1998. Then, in 2025, they had to fend off Verstappen and Red Bull for the entire season. They developed their car well enough to win both titles. 2 years in a row, McLaren have proven they are the best development team on the grid when the pressure is on. And now, in 2026, they have something extra. They're running the Mercedes engine, the same power unit that's helping Mercedes dominate right now. So if McLaren can figure out the chassis side, the aerodynamics, the setup, the balance, they're not just going to close the gap. They could genuinely match them. That's not a hopeful take. That's pattern recognition. Ferrari deserve a mention here too. They were Mercedes' closest challengers in both Australia and China. Japan was more difficult for them, but they haven't disappeared. Leclerc, Hamilton in his first year at Ferrari, a team that's been rebuilding quietly, they're in this conversation too. And then there's the psychological side of it. Mercedes are dominant right now, but dominance creates pressure. When you're expected to win every race, a second place feels like a failure. That weight adds up over a season. McLaren are in the opposite position. Every improvement is a positive. Every point they close is momentum. They're a team with nothing to lose and everything to gain. Piastri keeping Russell behind in Japan wasn't just a race result, it was a message. So, can Mercedes be beaten in 2026? Based on the data, the history, and what we saw in Japan, yes, eventually. The question isn't whether McLaren can close the gap. They're already doing it. The question is whether they can do it fast enough before Mercedes pulls too far ahead in the championship. Miami is next. That's where we'll find out if Japan was a one-off or the start of something.